Hello everyone and welcome along to something a little bit different, something a bit in the future, something that I'm going to be looking to do a lot more in the future as well. The All Blacks, where I live in New Zealand, have announced their 41-man squad today, which is Sunday. What day is it? The 21st of June 2015 for their squad for this international season, which will be trimmed to 31 before the World Cup gets underway. So first and foremost, this is just going to be a little bit of my reaction to the squad, seeing it's only been announced a couple of hours ago, and you know, you'll be seeing this hopefully Monday, Tuesday, hopefully Monday, even tonight, possibly, but that's irrelevant completely. But this is my reaction. I hope to do something a bit more in-depth, hopefully maybe with some other people's opinions as well. More importantly, I want your opinions in the comments. I know a lot of you guys are from New Zealand as well, so even for you Australians out there, you're English, anyone who's really big on rugby, the All Blacks have to be one of the favourites for a World Cup. How does this squad impress you or unimpress you? How threatening does it look for a World Cup season? But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. That's the big part about this. I want to know what everyone else thinks as well. But this is my opinion, and of course, a lot of people are going to disagree with me. But here we go. I'm going to go through the squad. 41-man squad named by Steve Hansen earlier today. And it does have 5 newcomers into the squad. We will come through them very soon. But first off, 41-man squad. We're going to start at the back because I think this is one of the most contentious parts of an All Black squad, or this All Black squad at least. So we've got 41 players plus the 2 injury covers, which are Nipo Lalala and Andy Ellis. They won't feature at all unless there's massive injuries later on. So we're not going to really include those 2 either in this little review. But we're going to start with the fullbacks, and they have named, technically you could say 3 fullbacks, possibly 4, possibly 2, depending on how you look at it. This is why it's contentious. Israel Dagg, Ben Smith, Nehe Milner-Skudder and Charles Piutau. 4 players I'd consider to be fullbacks, but 4 players who are capable of playing anywhere from the centres out to wing, out to fullback. Now starting off here, we'll just go with those 4 players to start off with. Israel Dagg, if you ask me, he is one of the luckiest men in New Zealand rugby at the moment to be included in this squad. If he does not impress, this is my opinion here, if he does not impress, because this is a squad against Samoa and the Rugby Championship as well, if he does not impress horrifically well in those test matches for the All Blacks, if he even plays, like, he's still injured, so when he even gets on the field, if he gets on the field, he needs to really impress. He needs to tear it up, in my opinion, if he's going to get even a look in to this squad for the World Cup. Sure, 2011 he dislodged Mills Muliaina and become the new number 1, but this focus for me here is going to be on who's in the squad, who's not in the squad. So keep that in mind as well. I'm just going to try not to talk about who's unlucky at this point. That will be a more in-depth look at this squad later on, as I'll try to go through all the other squads as well from all other countries around the globe. So Israel Dagg, horrifically lucky, and he needs to pull his finger out. Or for me, for my squad, he's gone. And that's something I'm going to try trim this down to 31 on a later section of this kind of thing. Ben Smith, Milner-Skudder, he's a new cap. Deserved, I think. Fairly deserved, but capable again of playing on the wing. How's he going to step up to international quality games? I don't know. He was a bit of a standout for the Hurricanes, so fair enough. That's not a bad call. Ben Smith, as I said, definitely he's number 1, isn't he? He is the number 1 fullback in the country. Charles Piutau, another one probably consider himself to be fairly lucky with this whole debacle about him signing to go overseas, not being allowed to come back to the Blues next year, not wanting to stay off New Zealand rugby. It was a pretty messy kind of move for poor old Charles. But credit to Steve Hansen, he said, look, you're in my best team, so we pick you. Whether you're going to be there after the World Cup or not, you're going to be the best squad players for now. So Charles Piutau, lucky, again, didn't play at all for the Blues, did he? He might have played a little bit for the Blues. Can't quite recall that. This is just off the cuff. Charles Piutau, another one who's very lucky to be there. Blues were horrible. Piutau, unlucky, but he's still there. And it carries on as well as we go on to the wingers, where we find our second uncapped player. Corey Jane, Waisaki Naholo, Julian Savea. So we've got 3 out-and-out wingers there, but again, Milner Skudder, Piatau, you could probably call them in the winger category as well. So Corey Jane, what do we say about Corey Jane? Like, I'll be completely brutally honest, Corey Jane, a fantastic player in his prime. Injuries, poor form, bad luck, I don't know what else you could call it, but he has just not shown that Corey Jane form that we know from years gone by in a long time. He's looked decisively average for the Hurricanes this year when he has played, and then that's always been cut short very abruptly by injury throughout the season. Another one that's lucky to be there, and another one that really needs to absolutely tear it up in these Rugby Championship matches as well. How's he going to get a start, though, when you got Julian Savea, who's got a mortgage on one of those wing spots? That number 11 jersey is just etched on his back. You're not going to get that off. Naholo, he's form. He is form, although I do feel he has some massive defensive frailties. I cue back to the Highlanders against the Hurricanes a few weeks ago. Naholo got absolutely monstered by Savea on defence, and he did not go back to him at all. He was found in midfield, wandering around. He was never on his man. Savea had free roam of that match, and I just feel Naholo, if he doesn't get that first jump on his opposite number, if he doesn't get that first burst, if he doesn't get that first bit of confidence, he just could go into his shell a bit and try to look for other plays and other ways to get involved in the match, which isn't bad. Like, that's good. He gets involved in the match, but he was really found out against Savea, which goes to show the quality of a world-renowned international winger, which leads me to another point with our wingers for New Zealand here. We're really short on wingers, which I thought someone like James Lowe might have been included in this squad, because let's be fair, Corey Jane's going to get injured. Naholo, I fear, is going to go found wanting somewhere along the way. And then it's down to like Milner Skudder and Piatau to try and fill in that. Like, they're good players and all, but we just don't have that second really good winger, which is something that doesn't often happen for New Zealand rugby. But that's enough about the wingers, or we're going to be going on here forever. Into the centres, we've got Conrad Smith, Malakai Fekitoa, Ryan Crotty, Ma'anonu, Sonny Bill Williams. So there we go. There's 5 good centres, inside and outside centres. There's no arguing about that. Ryan Crotty, of course, he's kind of the incumbent backup in that position. Sonny Bill's come back in. I feel it's going to go Nonu and Smith. And then, weaker games will see Sonny Bill and Fekitoa, and those two will share the bench, and Ryan Crotty will only come into the scene if there's a really bad injury toll going on about there. The only thing about that centres pairing is that you could say Sonny Bill Williams has been in horrific form this year, which is fair as well, but we all know the class of the man. There's his lovers and his haters, but he is still one of the great rugby players as well, as much as a lot of people will disagree. If he's on form, if he's on touch, he could be a big decisive thing. Definitely not a starter with Nonu's form as well, but his offloading, if he can get them away, and other teams haven't worked out what some super rugby sides have worked out, the likes of tackling him with the ball, like tackled the ball with him, has really nullified his offloads this year. But how will they counter that? Sonny Bill's a good player, he's an intelligent player, and he'll be a huge asset still. And we can move on from that pretty easily. Now we've got the first 5s or fly halves, depending on what your part of the world is. Daniel Carter, Bowden Barrett, Colin Slade, Lima Sopawanga. There's our new test cap number 3. Now, 4 fly halves, 4 first 5s. Carter, how long's it going to be till he breaks down? Bowden Barrett, he's my number 1. To be completely fair, Colin Slade and Lima Sopawanga, I feel, are really going to have to fight out that backup spot after Carter gets injured. Carter and Barrett, number 1s. Slade and Sopawanga, I don't know of much really separates them. Slade, he's got the experience. Sopawanga has got the freshness. He's got the form as well, which is going to be interesting for the selections. Who starts against Samoa? I say go Sopawanga straight off the bat. Give him his cap, give him a chance, get those nerves out of there, get him into that black jersey and the number 10 jumper. But then again, he could be in the Super Rugby final, which means he won't be available for that match against Samoa. So much water to go under that bridge yet still. This is very early days. Halfbacks or scrum halves, depending again on your part of the world, Aaron Smith, TJ Perenara and Tawera Karabarlo. They're our 3 number 9s. Aaron Smith, head and shoulders, torsos, waists, legs, shins and feet above the rest. He is just so good at the moment. He is one of the best rugby players going around the globe at the moment. There's no question about that. He is just playing that good at the moment. He's number 1, so no question about that. And Perenara and Karabarlo easily 2nd and 3rd in the pecking order. I think Weber, who was getting touted as possibly being a bolter for the squad, he got found out last weekend against the Highlanders, and against Aaron Smith he was pretty average. He's not quite up to that level yet. He's not into it. Karabarlo, he's been injured all season. A lucky pick for him. He is good enough. He is strong. He's tenacious. But injuries. Can we rely on him? Can he? Again, he needs to be one who steps up. But I don't think he's quite in the same category as the likes of Israel Dag, who needs to really pull one out of the top shelf. Karabarlo is definitely one of the best scrum halves in New Zealand at the moment. So that's the backs. A bit of contentiousness going on that squad. For me, I would do things slightly a bit differently, but that's another story for another day. Let's crack into the forwards. We'll start with the back row, and we have straight away Kieran Reid, Victor Vito. They'll be your number 8s, I guess, alongside possibly Kaino and Messam. Then we have, of course, McCaw, Kane, and Matt Todd. Matt Todd, God, you feel sorry for Sam Kane for not being able to get into that number 7 jumper, but feel sorry for Matt Todd, who's always had to adapt his game to a number 6 role for the chance of getting some game time while being in Canterbury, let alone with the All Blacks with Richie McCaw there. Of course, future tests next year will say something completely different, but no arguing about anything here. Like Kieran Reid, Vito, McCaw obviously has to be there. Kane, he's number 2, number 7 in the country, open sider. Kaino, Messam, Matt Todd, that's about as good as you get from those guys. They are easily the top. Of course, Luatua out with injury, so he's not even being considered given that. So he's probably the only one who would be unlucky to be left out for that back row's positions. Not much. The forwards are pretty straightforward, really, especially when you go to the locks and you got Sam Whitelock, Brodie Retallick, Thrush, Jeremy Thrush, Luke Romano, James Broadhurst, which is another new cap as well. So we look through those. Of course, Whitelock, Retallick going to be your number 1s. Thrush was impressive. I think he kind of stepped up and proved to be a better player than his domestic form proved him to be while playing for Wellington and the Hurricanes. So that's good. That's what you want. Romano, of course, he was an All Black before he got that big injury. So for him to come back into the squad like that, he's been good enough for sure over the season. James Broadhurst has been a monster for Wellington and the Hurricanes for a long time now, and I think he definitely deserves his shot at a black jersey. Pretty happy with those second rowers for this squad. Now into the front row. Now this is interesting here. Not much complaints about anyone here. Owen Franks, Charlie Faumuina, Tony Woodcock, Wyatt Crockett, Ben Franks, and Joe Moody. So once again, we go through it a bit like some earlier positions where you just know who's not going to get much game time. When you got Owen Franks and Ben Franks, they are just 2 of the best going around. Faumuina, he's come along quite nicely over the years. Tony Woodcock, the legend, he's been around. He's like the old relic in the front row. Wyatt Crockett has ironed out a few wrinkles, but I don't think I think he's very far from still being that finished product in a world-class front rower. And of course, Joe Moody, he's the one who's just really going to struggle to get game time. Who's he going to push out of the way? Where's he going to get his opportunity to push forward and to, nail down and say, look, I deserve to be on the bench for this match. He may get the chance, but he's really got a lot of tough wood to push through to get near that. So that's a bit of a shame, but still some good props. You can't go past the 2 Franks, Woodcock, Faumuina and Crockett. Good front rowers for the All Blacks. Probably not world class though, it has to be said. Into the hookers, and this is our final debutant coming into the squad. Dane Coles, one of the best hookers going around. Such mobility around the field. He has been outstanding. Kevin Mealamu, the veteran, will be the last time we'll probably see him in a black jersey this year as well. Hika Elliott, he's the one I wanted to talk about. He has been phenomenal. It was a no-brainer earlier in the season to think that Hika Elliott was going to get back in to this All Blacks team. He's been outstanding this season. Won easily the top line-out thrower. I think he was going like 8 or 9 rounds in the competition before they actually lost a line-out from his throw, which is just absurd. So Hika Elliott, he's strong around the field. He has a perfect line-out, and there's not much more you want from your hooker to go along with someone like Dane Coles and Hika Elliott off the bench. That's a huge combination. Cody Taylor, though, he's number 4 hooker, and I kind of take this one as a bit of a surprise. More than the other 4 newcomers, I guess you say. Naholo was no surprise there. Sopawanga, they've been talking a long time about as well. You know, and then you go here. Cody Taylor, I don't know about Cody Taylor. He's just not quite... Is he really international quality? What's happened to James Parsons? He was, you know, all that coming back, and his claim to fame, 1 test match as well. And then you've got to think about the ones that are injured as well. There's, Nathan Harris, who's out due to injury. So, you know, I thought Parsons would have definitely come in if they took 4 hookers. But no, they're gone for Cody Taylor, which makes me compare. Why didn't you go for someone like Quinton McDonald? Another one very much like Dane Coles. But they've gone with Cody Taylor instead. A newcomer to the squad. Possibly be the one to get the chop, I feel, if he doesn't absolutely tear it up again in these test matches leading up, where he's going to struggle to get a start, isn't he? He may get 20 minutes off the bench against Samoa or something, seeing as Canterbury are out, but maybe that's why he's there. Canterbury are out, and he's guaranteed to be fit and free for that match. You can obviously say the likes of Dane Coles, he might not be available when you'll have just 3 hookers to go into that first test match with. But there we go, Cody Taylor, well done for him. Congratulations to all the players who have been selected, obviously, for the squad. And remember, this is just my opinion. If you have your own opinion, do leave it in the comments below, of course. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about all the contentious issues that I feel about the squad. Of course, there's still so much to happen. I hope to do like reviews of these squads a lot more in depth in the future as well, and of course the test matches coming up as well. Do a bit more going into the real rugby heading into this World Cup. But that has been a look, my reactions, of first impressions, if you like, of the squad. No real huge complaints. I just feel that for some of these players, Israel Dag, he's the most. Not my favourite player by any means, any stretch of the imagination, but still to not play at all. I don't know if he's going to be up to speed for this World Cup year. But that is my thoughts. That's my initial opinions on the match. Obviously, none of this was planned straight off the cuff. I read the article and thought, well, you know, let's get this up to you guys straight away and have a bit of discussion about what we think of this All Blacks squad. All you overseas viewers as well, what do you think about this All Blacks squad? Do you think it's good enough? Are you concerned about the strength or weaknesses, or happy about the weaknesses that this All Blacks squad has? Let me know in the comments as well, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully some more planned, more prepared, and everything about the other squads. And today, well, that's straight off the top of my head, straight off my opinions. Thanks for tuning in and watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.